From the hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.
Match 32, Gujarat Titans, Delhi Capitals. You think of how the tournament has begun for these two teams and you think, is this really a fixture of two teams that are making a serious challenge to the playoffs? Well, it couldn't come at a better time. Both are fresh of inspiring performances away from home against stronger teams, at least with the start of the season. The Titans beat Rajasthan Royals at Jaipur in a last ball thriller with Rashid Khan to thank. And the Delhi Capitals, just when we thought that their season is going in the same direction as Bengaluru's, managed to pull out the upset against the Lucknow Super Giants. And they had some fresh blood in Jake Fraser-McGurk to thank for it. So when these two teams come together now, you think this is a game with plenty riding on it. As we build up to it, on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Both the Titans and the Capitals have had about a week off, which is more than I can say for Mitch McClenaghan and Ian Bishop, who are back with me. And what is proving to be a very spacious couch today. It's just us, gentlemen. Are we ready?
Yes.
Right. Bish is back. Mitch is back. David Miller's back. And that is huge for the Gujarat Titans as the Capitals have won the toss in Ahmedabad, decided to bowl first. Remember, the Titans have developed quite a nice reputation of chasing, and they tend to slip up, if at all, at home when they bat first. That's how the Punjab Kings beat them in Ahmedabad earlier this season. Strike rate of 143 for David Miller, and he's back. And he posted that last evening as well. So he gave us some team news to anticipate.
Some good intel, some early intel.
Yeah, I mean, really dig. But yeah, it's a big player back for them when they need him.
Massive player. Massive player. They really struggled to find what their batting lineup was when they brought in Kane, and then they went to Matthew Wade in the last game against Rajasthan, and it just didn't seem to flow as well as it had at the start of the season. So he's a massive inclusion. Just means that they can have a bit more of a consistent batting lineup that's been successful for them in the past.
And he has had a good start this year as well, has David Miller. What happens with Miller coming in is you have to make more than the one change, because Wade also took up the gloves behind the stumps. Ridhiman Saha returns, and there is also room for Sandeep Warrior, who was brought in as the replacement player for Mohammad Shami. So Titans are making quite a few changes. It still seems like, Bish, that with what we've seen of the Titans, their best team is with Saha at the top, Miller in the middle, even though you may not get performance every game from them. This is sound selection call.
No, definitely with Miller. Miller fills a lovely breach for them with his experience. He can sort of segue things through the middle for you, or he can be that power player at the back end. And I think oppositions look at him and they think, that's a guy we have to be wary of. So great to have Miller back. Saha needs to pick up his form. He's been struggling. So while he'll always be decent or good with the gloves, he really needs to help out this season with the bat at the top of the innings.
They're going to be batting first as well. The Titans up against them. At least the Capitals are happy they have their frontline spin attack to go to. Kuldeep Yadav gave us perhaps the wow moment of the tournament as far as spin bowling is concerned when he went through the defense of an informed Nicholas Pooran. They'd be hoping for something similar against David Miller. And if you look at the matchup, let's go straight into it because it could come into play. I'm giving you great intel for your impact zone in a little while from now, gentlemen. You remember the impact zone, Mitch, the one you came second in yesterday? 112 is the strike rate Kuldeep Yadav has managed to keep Miller to. And Akshar Patel, he does take down 2 dismissals and 36 runs only from 32 balls faced. Kuldeep, big player again.
Oh, massive player. We saw the inclusion of him into the side the other night, how much it turned around their fortunes. And he's just a weapon. He's a weapon against those hitters who come in for their first couple of overs against spin and then try to set themselves up for the back end. And he's just a master of getting the guys like Nicholas Pooran out, the guys like Miller out, all your big hitters. So it's great to have that experience, someone who can throw the ball to try and have an impact. So makes it a little bit easier for the death phase for your bowlers.
It's a chat I've had with other panelists so far, Bish, when we talk about India's selections and who is front runner in various departments. Kuldeep Yadav seems to be the unanimous choice for India's number one wrist spinner. There is Chahal, there is Bishnoi, but in your part of the world, in the Caribbean for the World Cup, do you have that same view as well? Kuldeep number one?
Yeah, nothing changes from conversations you and I have had when India were in the Caribbean last year, where Kuldeep, he's a transformed bowler almost since he's made the technical adjustments. He's landing the ball almost at will wherever he wants to do it and doing his work from that wonderful length, hard to get to. So it's no surprise in my mind that so many people, including myself, think that he's the man.
He's also going to be part of a very different Delhi 11. Now you think you won your last game and confidence may be on a high, let's go with the same team. No, say the Capitals. David Warner misses out. So will we see Jake Fraser-McGurk play at his preferred spot at the top of the order along with Prithvi Shaw? Shea Hope, they stay with. He played a defensive role or just to see out the chase. Wasn't needed as much in the last game. But Hope is one of 3 overseas players named as Anvik Norke continues to miss out on the starting 11. Sumit Kumar is back. Stubbs has been the standout player in form, but no David Warner.
I actually like this lineup. I know you've got David Warner and Mitchell Marsh out, but in terms of that top 5, I think that's a great top 5. I think it's a really solid top 5. You cover all bases. I think the 2 openers, they're dashes. They've got a chance with nothing out on the slate to go out there and have an impact on the game. And then Shea's a quality top order batsman. He can bat in any situation and navigate, particularly in a chase. I think he's a very good batter in a chase to be able to navigate and hold that innings together. And obviously Rishabh and Tristan Stubbs, they're finding form. They've been 2 of the quality players, middle order players in the whole IPL, not just for Delhi. Yeah,
it's also due to a hurt finger that David Warner misses out. They're already without Mitchell Marsh, so it's not easy. You look at that team one more time, it looks like they will only be using 3 overseas players. Remember, this is a bowling first 11 bish, so Lizard Williams, who was brought in as a replacement for Lungi Ngiri, like for like South African quick, but given they're bowling first, does not seem like his services will be needed. So you're effectively going to be playing with just your 3 overseas. Do you sympathize with Delhi with their injury count, or somewhere does this also expose the lack of resources or squad building when you have to play a game like this with those as your overseas?
A lot of things reflect on, and a lot of teams can reflect on what they did at the auction last time and think maybe next time we need to do a little bit better. But Ricky Ponting said something, I don't know if it was yesterday he said it or a few days ago, where he said the team that bats perhaps more aggressively or better will probably win this tournament. Today they're chasing, so they'll be able to sort of pace things. But I want to see how they bat. If Gujarat set a decent enough score for them, Fraser McGurk, we know, will play the way that he wants to play. Rishabh Pant will play the way that he normally plays if given the opportunity. And Shea Hope can play that flexible role. He can also be aggressive. So I think that's going to be the key for me. I don't necessarily agree with Ricky, because I think a good bowling group will get you far in this tournament if everybody's coming out and firing guns. But it'll be interesting.
Spend some time on Shea Hope, who's, of course, I think it was that series against India that found him back into the scheme of things for the T20I side. Is he a big part of the T20 World Cup plans as well, with all the contrasting power hitters that we're so excited to see for the West Indies?
Depending on form. He's played a couple of tournaments now, and he hasn't really fired. He's been a bit part role so far in this tournament, but at his best, and one of the things that I always fall in disagreement with some people in the Caribbean, and even with Shea, is that he likes to play this anchor role depending on which team he's playing in. But at times, West Indies have almost said to him, you need to have a higher tempo to your batting without being stupid and be able to still hold things together. So I'm curious to see which role he fits into in this Delhi Capital series, because I think he can muscle it without taking extravagant risks as well.
I mean, this also is, again, another game where the death bowling responsibilities, which have been a concern for Delhi, will have to be shared by an all-Indian attack. As we look at that team one more time, it's not necessarily the way successful IPL teams go when you don't have an overseas quick or at least an impact spinner. Well, Kuldeep is there. But as fast bowlers go, Norke, I thought it would be one game out and then they'll give him a chance to reset and come back. It's not the case.
No, it's not the case. Look, I like Mukesh Kumar as a death bowler. He's your banker. In the last 4 overs, you want him to bowl 2. Ideally not 18 and 20. You'd like him to bowl 17, get a wicket and kind of open up that death phase and then finish it off in 20. Particularly bowling first, you want him bowling 20. And then the other 2 can do a job depending on the matchups. I think Khalil Ahmed is improving in terms of his death bowling, particularly to right-handers going across them, bowling his change-ups and their wide Yorker. But at the end of the day, you've got to have that one good death bowler to make that phase easier. And I think Mukesh Kumar's that guy.
I want to come back to that at the end of the bowling effort, actually, because I want to see, I take your point, but I've got maybe a stupid view. So I want to see how it comes back. If you're having an overseas player, he has to be better than what you've got locally, right? Because you've got Mukesh, who's your international player. Khalil has tasted international cricket. Ishant has played international cricket, although he's at the back end of his career. And Nokia hasn't been bowling well. So do you play an overseas player for an overseas player's sake, or do you play the best guys who are bowling very well right now?
Well, does that tell you that Anrik Nokia, who would need some time with the time he had away, is not a better option? And how do you get better if you're on the bench?
Look, if I know for a fact that in my experience, sometimes you may just need a little bit of a breather. He's been out of cricket for so long. Or you could work on one or two technical things over a couple of days. There could be myriad number of things going on behind the scenes. I often hear people say, how do you get better if you're on the bench? Sometimes you just need to pull out and have some introspection and then come back in, and you're better for it. Sometimes.
Well, this is a team that has not found the solution, though, with or without Nokia. Now, Nokia had a tough start to this season. You can totally understand why Delhi said that they perhaps feel he's not at the peak of his powers. And we're seeing a team that's actually been the most expensive when it comes to the death overs. That's over 16 to 20 this season. The economy is 13.8. Hyderabad's there, but Hyderabad scored twice as many with the bat. That's one way of doing it. So too to Mumbai. They're also up against the team that actually have found the way to have an effect in the last five. Gujarat with a 9.92, a third on the best economy rates. Gee, the best economy rates are touching 9s and 9.9.
Yeah, I want to also note that I think they had one of the best death bowling performances as well. Their death bowling performance against Chennai, when Chennai was chasing, I thought they bowled exceptionally well to keep Jadeja quiet and then only put a bit of cream on the top at the end when the game was gone. So they've done really well in that game, exceptionally well, in fact.
Without
and then
Mukesh.
Exactly. And he's back. He's going to be very important. What I do like for their matchups is that a lot of the batters they're coming up against towards the end are predictable in the areas that they hit. And I think Mukesh, when he was bowling to Jadeja, nullified his strengths very well. And I'd imagine to Wati or Miller, he'll have the same kind of game plan and be successful.
Now, on this very subject, we're missing Matt Roller's presence on our show this IPL. So let's fix that, shall we? There's a question from our T20 wizard.
Hi guys, Matt here in North London. It's about 10 degrees outside, so I'm very jealous of you all 5,000 miles away in the midst of a Mumbai summer. Now, I've obviously been glued to the IPL while pretending to follow the county championship over the past couple of weeks. And something I've seen a lot of that I wanted to get the guys' thoughts on is I've seen a lot of commentary around the higher scores that we've had this season, and clearly there's been some incredible hitting we've seen over the past two seasons now, the liberating effect that batting depth has had on top orders. Every team bats a position or two deeper thanks to the impact player and the role that that's had. But something I've heard a fair bit of is that these higher scores and conditions weighted in the batter's favour with flat pitches and short boundaries means that bowlers are becoming almost irrelevant in T20. The idea that they might as well be replaced by bowling machines. Now, I obviously do see where people are coming from on that, but there's the contrarian part of me thinking that I wonder if the opposite might actually be true. Now, bear with me here, but when we've seen Sunrisers Hyderabad pile up 277 and then 287 against RCB, in both games, their standout bowler has been Pat Cummins, who on both occasions, there's been scares in both run chases for Sunrisers, but on both occasions, he's delivered the best figures in the game. In the first game as well against MI, Jasprit Bumrah was the only MI bowler that managed to avoid going around the park. So it seems like the cream is rising to the top. In the same way that only the best batters can generally adapt to pitches that are loaded in favour of bowlers, I wonder if those extreme batting-friendly conditions might actually be where we can tell who the truly exceptional bowlers are. And maybe as viewers, we just need to recalibrate what we count as success in T20 games, where figures like Cummins on Tuesday night, like 3 for 43 in 4 overs, might actually be the best on either side.
It's always triggering a different thought to watch the game from. The exceptional bowlers separated from the rest. We had a similar chat last night where we can't count too many exceptional bowlers, but anyone wants to take off from the question that Matt leads us with?
The best bowlers are standing out in a difficult tournament where, again, we go back to the Ricky Ponting quote, and he said it because of the impact player and how important that player is having in terms of how teams go about their batting. So I think I saw that quote somewhere from Matt today, and it was like the good bowlers separated from the not so good bowlers. I think the outstanding bowlers are separating themselves from the rest. I wouldn't say that the other guys, some of the other guys are not good. I just think that the Bumrahs and the Cummins are so good that Khalil has been bowling well, for example, and one or two other guys. It's that situation.
Yeah, I think you're bang on. We spoke about it the other night in terms of as the scores get bigger, I think your better bowlers returns will stay relatively the same, and the guys who don't think and don't do the preparation and don't get ahead of the game will begin to struggle, and that's because you do bowl to another batter or another two batters. And if you look at international cricket, quite often don't really like to use the word, but sometimes bowlers will stat pad. You know, you get 6 down, and then all of a sudden, bowling death to tail enders is so much easier. And you love it as a bowler if you've taken 5 or 6 wickets in international cricket because you are bowling to tail enders, and your numbers look good. You might not have bowled well before that against top order guys who might have taken you for 10s or 12s, but then you can bring it back with going at 5s or 6s, picking a couple of cheap wickets at the end when the batting power is not there. So what I think is showing up that a lot of T20 games in the past have been exactly that, opportunities to increase your stats at the back end of games if you've been successful as a team in taking wickets. And if you get a big score, quite often teams will have to go hard without the impact player. Then they use the resources up early so that they end up capitulating and getting bowled out for 150, and your numbers look really good. So all that's happening now is that you've got that extra batter now, so you're going to have to be better as a bowler, more consistently than you've had to do in the past before the impact player. And what has shown a lot of bowlers now is that maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. Maybe my skills aren't as good as I thought I was. Maybe my preparation isn't as good as I thought it was. And maybe I need to start looking at the Bumrahs, the way they talk about the game, the way they talk about getting ahead of the batsman, the way they're talking about using their different skills on different days to different opponents. Maybe I actually need to start listening to that and seeing how I can improve my game so I can be successful as well.
Skill.
I can't help but think it's certainly easier to be an outstanding T20 batter than it is to be an outstanding T20 bowler, fast bowler. I mean, the lopside I think a lot of opinions are coming on the impact player, whether it's spoiling the balance. The flip side to it, I don't quite digest that, if they have an extra batter, you still get an extra bowler. But it doesn't matter how many bowlers you have sometimes. And you're still going to find enough batters who will be able to get you 8-ball 20s or 8-ball 30s, but you may not be able to find an outstanding bowler to counter that. Fair? No matter how much you look and train and develop.
I just think it purely comes down to cricket IQ. It purely comes down to cricket IQ. And just looking at your weaknesses, how can you get better? How can you match up your balls to the type of bowlers or batters that you're playing against? I don't think it's... I really like the impact player. I think it makes the game more exciting. But that's just me. And that's coming from a bowler. But
You're a retired bowler.
but also, I think what's going to have to become the new normal when we look at... Let's use Stark, for example. He's getting a hard time in the media, on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. What we've got to understand is that, probably more likely that bowlers will start to go for those scores if they have a half off day, where in the past they were probably going for early 40s. And we've got to understand that, okay, this might be the new average game as opposed to a bad game. And then particularly in the IPL, you go for 50. I've gone for 50 plenty of times. And it's how you come back from that and how you get better. So I think maybe we've got to look at the game where it's advancing and start assessing people off different numbers.
I
as
think
well.
I think I don't have enough bowling on my panel right now. So why don't I fix that? First, let's just look at the GT11, shall we? Or the GT12. There are some changes there where Ridhiman Saha returns, who will partner Shubman Gill at the top of the order in a little while from now. David Miller's back. That's a big one. Sandeep Warrior, as I said, replaced Mohammad Shami, will make an appearance and debut for the Gujarat Titans for the first time. And they have made some changes from that last game. So because this is a batting first 11, they preferred Abhinav Manohar. Shah Rukh Khan will be on the bench. And there is no room for Vijay Shankar either. So you could sense either Darshan Nalkande or Sai Kishore will come in to boost their bowling in the second innings. Right. Speaking of boosting the bowling, welcome back, Varun Aaron. 3 fast bowlers. I feel like the great Clive Lloyd right now. Look at the resources I have at my disposal. I'm sure he would have been fascinated to see how that set of bowlers would have gone with 270 and 280. Come on, give me something.
Fast bowlers will adapt. I'm hoping they'll adapt eventually. That's how cricket goes, Teams or certain components take off with one skill, and the fast bowlers, they're a surviving species. I think bowlers in general, maybe not before the season ends, but certainly going forward, they'll adapt.
You can pick up the theme that we're discussing over here. Even the best fast bowlers on the world, among the best, Mitch Stark struggling. Bumrah, we had a piece from Matt Roller saying that it's separating the outstanding bowlers from the rest. That's what's happening with the impact sub and these crazy scores, 240, 270. I simply sort of carried that on and said, but it's not easy to make outstanding bowlers. You will get more outstanding batters with greater. Are we concerned?
It's definitely a matter of concern because what we've seen across the IPL this time is there have hardly been any Yorkers towards the death. I feel that teams are going away from the Yorker strategy, which hasn't been working for them. Because yesterday you saw in the last 6 overs there were 96 runs scored.
Yeah.
Not too many Yorkers executed. Teams are mostly going towards the slower bouncers, wide outside the off stump, slow ball.
The current bowlers are reluctant, clearly, right? Even Mitch Stark is reluctant to try a second Yorker if the first one doesn't land.
See, I feel Mitch Stark is going through a real form slump. I don't see him finishing as well as he finishes his action. He's not getting the ball back. The moment he's trying to swing it from off stump, it's going wide outside the off stump. So there are a lot of factors at play with Mitch Stark. Sometimes with fast bowlers sitting from the outside, it's hard for us to really comment on them, and it's not even fair because you never know, he might be carrying an injury, he might be having a niggle. Mitchell Stark is not looking at his best, and that's a fact.
Okay. I guess today is a great day for us
coming
to
hot.
get a detox. Yeah, he's awesome.
He's warming up out there.
Yes.
Man, I'm heated up. I'm like,
You're
I've
ready to
just
go.
had like 5
You're
shows,
back. Yeah,
5 shows downstairs, and now this is my 6th.
Oh, what are you talking? You're supposed to be all fresh and like you're back on the Cricket Info couch after almost a 2-week break or a 10-day break. It's good to have Varun back. Bish, say welcome, Varun.
Hello, Bish.
Yeah. All right, excellent. And now Bish is familiar, Mitch is familiar, and you remember how to play in the impact
Oh yes,
zone.
I've been missing that.
Yes, let's go to the impact zone. Right, everyone knows, but just to remind you, 3 players for each of our experts to pick, batter, bowler and a wildcard, no repeats. Impact points as per ESPN Cricket for Smart Stats, and whoever ends up with the highest gets 3 in their season tally. A tally that is building for Mitch McClenaghan in the absence of Tom Moody, and for Varun Aaron now in the absence of Wasim Jaffer, and eventually Bish, I'll just give you as many points as I can because you're awesome. Okay, what happened yesterday? Remind me again, Mitch, because I'll decide the order accordingly.
Yeah, apparently you won.
I won yesterday.
Somebody fudged the statistics. Still it's inquiring.
Oh, come on, stop it now. Don't fish for conspiracy where there isn't any. I'll let the panel go. So let Mitch start since he's being...
Mitch start?
Yeah, you could go. Gujarat batting first, of course, against the Delhi Capitals. Okay. Your boy, come on. Bish, do you know, by the way, he predicted pre-season that Jake Fraser-McGurk will score 50 plus on his IPL debut.
Mitch was going on about him the moment he scored. I was
He's going to get a lot of points for that.
Mitch is
We should
happy
all
now.
just walk out of here now. You can't beat that.
The only Mitch in form in the IPL is McClenaghan.
Okay.
Oh.
I'll leave it open to you guys if you like. I'm going to start with the bowler. I'm going to start with Rashid Khan.
Ooh, Rashid Khan.
Safe choices all the time, Mitch. Safe choices.
Yeah, Varun, come on. Show him how it's done. Give us an out of the box.
I'm just going to go very unsafe and go...
Anukul Roy.
No. Khalil Ahmed.
Khalil for Varun. Very well. Bish,
Maybe not this match.
What are you asking for? Where
a bowler.
A bowler?
Bowler for your impact zone
Kuldeep.
today. Kuldeep Yadav.
Oh, yeah, should've known
Missed
that.
it.
That's
Missed
my
the
bad.
man in form.
Good one.
Right. Varun, a batter.
I'm going to take a cue from Mitch and go Shubman Gill.
Nice and easy. Bish, batter.
David Miller.
David Miller, the returning David Miller for Bish.
Why not? Let's go Fraser McGirt.
Yeah, your boy Fraser McGirt. And now Bish. Amongst the rest, you could choose anybody. You go first.
What? What am I choosing now?
Anyone you want. Another player you think would
Wild
have a big
card.
say in this game.
Oh, this be a good one. Prithvi Shaw.
Prithvi Shaw for Bish. Very nice. Right. Mitch?
Let Varun go. I'll give him the pick
Nah,
of
come
what's
on, Mitch.
left.
Follow the order. Come on.
I will go Tristan Stubbs.
Tristan Stubbs for Mitchell
Good one.
McClenaghan.
Good selection.
And Varun Aaron, your turn.
Rahul Tewatia.
Rahul Tewatia. Very interesting. Now my turn. Sai Sudarshan. He's there, no, today? I hope he's not missing.
No,
Yeah.
he's there.
Sai Sudarshan. There, yeah. My man Sai Sudarshan's there. Noor Ahmed.
Oh, the team comes up for
No,
Raunak.
Ahmed.
Guys, you're in on this.
Oh, no, nothing like that. It just comes up whenever someone needs
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah, it's like the room of requirement in Harry Potter. Okay, Sudarshan, Noor Ahmed, and the Delhi Capitals. Interesting. I'm going to go for, because Bish is here, I'm going to go for some West Indian flavor. I'm going to go for Shea Hope. I think he's going to get me enough impact points today. Right.
Minus points for you because the producers are helping you out with the teams.
Fine.
Yeah.
Mitch was missing someone else to also clip on the show. Welcome back, Varun. Nice to have you. First innings scores and prediction. In fact, Varun, we're going to see you at the end of the game. So you could give me a double outrageous pick if you'd like. But Mitch, you can start. Varun can think about it.
I'm going to say 189,
Okay.
and Shubman Gill's going to get 60 plus today.
Okay. Outrageous enough, I think. Bish.
I'm going to go 196.
196.
Yeah, 196. And let me see, who can I say gets naught? Less than 10 for Rishabh.
Less than 10 for Rishabh Pant. That'll be for the second innings. Very well. Varun Aaron.
I'm going to go 175. And I say Sandeep Warrior is going to get a wicket in his first 10 balls.
Nice of you to not
First
pick
two
him.
overs.
So that has to be first innings. Let me get the rules clear. It has to be first
You
innings
could
or
go,
at any
gives you
point.
two chances, so you could go
Right.
one now, and I'll save the Pant one, put it in the box.
I might need two chances to get past you, actually.
Nah, come on, go on, Bish. You want to give me another one? First innings one?
Mukesh Kumar with a 3-for.
Oh, very good. I like it. Mukesh with the 3-for. That is where no one took Mukesh. I want Mukesh.
No, you're not.
Okay, fine. We leave it there. Thank you, Varun Aaron, Ian Bishop, Mitch McClenaghan. Three fast bowlers that have given you plenty to look forward to in this first innings. We pick up the chat at the end of the Titans' first innings. So join us then on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout. Download the mobile app if you haven't already. Have you covered with everything going on. 3 overseas only for Delhi today. And both teams coming off a win in their last one. Should be a good one. We'll see you at the end of the first innings.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.